So this year, I was on a quest to hire a holiday home company in Dubai to manage a few of my units. I was tired of managing them myself. I had been doing it for over a year now. It wasn't bad. I was making good money, but it was time consuming. I thought maybe a professional could match or beat my numbers and I could just chill a bit, make the same money, but more passively. That was the idea. So I met 9 different holiday home companies in Dubai. I started with the big names. I can't say names on this channel, but these are the easy ones to find. They manage hundreds, sometimes thousands of units in the region. You can meet them in their office. You will be received by people wearing suits or fancy dresses, but honestly, it was way too salesy for me. It felt like they were trying too hard to sell, and from my experience in life, when people try too hard to sell, they are usually not the one that perform the best on the ground. For my unit in Bloom Towers, a 2-bedroom apartment, they told me that we are looking at 220k net for the owner if they manage it. I was like, wait, what? That would mean that they believe they will rent this apartment for approximately 300,000 dirham a year after their 20% fee, cleaning, DTCM, tourism taxes. That's literally 2.5 times the long-term rent, which in this area is about 115 to 125k per year. And when I ask how, they just say dynamic pricing like price slabs. But I already use price slab. That's not magic. They also said that they have connections with companies who house employees waiting for their visas. I mean, maybe, but it didn't add up to me. So what I did is I reached out to another owner in the same building. I messaged a few on Airbnb and one responded and accepted to meet with me. I offered him a coffee and he was super helpful. He gave me actual advice too. He told me I should add a bed in the master bedroom instead of the sitting area to increase the capacity from 6 to 8 people. That's smart. The guy knew what he was doing. He was doing this business much before I even started, and he told me his 2-bedroom unit in the same building made 130 to 150k net. So again, the 220 from the big company, it was completely unrealistic. So I went back to that big company and I asked them for the booking history or the revenue proof from a similar unit, and they told me that it was confidential. That's when I knew it was bull. That was the moment I realized that I'm not going with the big players. I wanted to deal with young and hungry people, someone who actually cared about the strategy, the operations and the details, not just someone trying to close as many contracts as they could. So I met with other few less known companies looking for that different vibe. But before we go to the company I actually chose, let's talk about the difference in cost. From the 9 companies I met, the management fee ranged from 13 to 22% depending on how many units you give them. Some would drop 5% if you give them 3 to 4 units, and some had onboarding fees, others didn't. Then you had to pay the DTCM license for each unit. For my 2-bedroom, it was around 600 dirham. Then you have the professional photos. Each company would usually require a new set of photos, and they will charge you between 700 to 900 dirham for a 2-bedroom. Some of them will also request you to upgrade the furniture or the design just to fit their brand style. Also, most of them are very strict when it comes to the DTCM rules. So you need to have the proper set of cutleries, the Quran in the unit, the Qibla stickers, and all these items requested by DTCM. Also, around that time, Dubai introduced the keyless entry rule. So we had to replace all the smart locks with the approved model. That was another surprise cost for me. So all in all, I had to budget between 1,500 to 4,000 dirham to get my property listed with these companies. Now, let's talk about their management style. Every agency had a different rental strategy. Some only did 2 weeks minimum bookings, others allowed 1 night stays like I was already doing, and in my case, most of my booking were around 5 nights, except in the summer, then it was mostly monthly booking. So that matters. If an agency doesn't allow short stays, I believe that my property was not a good match for them. Then the contract. Some had a 3 months notice period to leave them, others made you wait until their last booking was finished or you would get penalized. And if you wanted to switch later, you had to pay again for photos, new DTCM license, and boarding things, everything from scratch. So you kind of have to get it right the first time. I also spoke with a guy who owns a holiday home agency in downtown. He wasn't in my area, but he gave me solid feedback. He told me that the average occupancy rate for most units in Dubai is around 65 to 70%. And he told me that if anyone promises you more than that, be careful. So I kept that in mind in my research. Then I found another. They are Airbnb influencers. I like their content. Super informative. They seem to know what they were doing. And it turned turns out they also had their own property management company, so I reached out. I met the guy, he came to see my apartment, but something was off. He came empty-handed, no checklist, no notes. He spent like 5 minutes in each of my units and left. I expected at least some kind of inventory, like what needs fixing, what's missing, what needs to be upgraded before the handover. But I got nothing. We had already agreed on the date for the handover. I was just waiting for my booking to finish and I wanted the new team to take over right away, take the photos and get it listed fast. But a few days before, I still had no idea what they needed from me. No checklist, no updates, even simple stuff like, do I need to change the door lock myself now or are you going to do it? I kept changing on WhatsApp, but I got ignored most of the time. And it was a shame because their pricing strategy was solid. I even wrote performance targets into the contract, like 17% commission if they hit a certain number and 20% if they beat it. That would have pushed them to perform, but they just didn't seem professional enough to handle it. So the day before the handover, I canceled the deal. Then I got recommended a smaller company by a friend. We jumped on a Zoom call and right away the vibe was different. No fluff, no false promises. The guy already looked at my Airbnb listing. We talked about the photos, the furniture, the layout, what was working and what could be improved based on his own experience. And his numbers, they matched what I was already achieving, so that was a good sign. They actually took the time to understand my property. They didn't bullshit me with unrealistic revenue projection. They asked smart questions, looked at the real data and gave me honest feedback. So I decided to give them a shot. We met at the property, the manager came in, super hands-on. He suggested a few small upgrades that could boost the guest experience. Nothing crazy, just small tweaks. On the handover day, we met again to install the new smart lock. The next morning, it had a technical glitch and he literally showed up with a couple of screwdrivers and fixed it himself. And as I was leaving the property on that day, he was already doing a viewing with a couple. They booked it on the spot, 1 month stay. That's when I knew these guys get things done. And everything moved fast. Clear communication, no wasted time. My apartment was handed over and rented all within 48 hours. So I gave them more units. I told them I will track your results every couple of months. I will compare it with what I made last year. And so far they are doing decently well. The revenue is a bit lower than when I was managing it myself, but 90% occupancy rate over the last 6 months. They covered the utilities and most importantly, they haven't disturbed me once. I'm free, I get paid, and it's completely passive now. If I had to do it all over again, here is what I would watch out for. Don't trust the numbers they throw at you. If someone says we'll get you 200,000 dirham a year, ask for the proof. Ask for actual booking data and real results. And look at how they handle things before the handover. If they are already slow, vague or disorganized at that point, trust me, it won't magically get better later. And make sure that their rental strategy fit your actual unit. Some agencies prefer longer stays, minimum 1 or 2 weeks, but if your unit does better with short bookings, that won't work. And read the contract properly. Check the exit terms. Some agencies make it a pain to leave and you never know if you need to switch to another agency in a few months because this one doesn't perform as you wanted. And the bonus tip, contact other Airbnb hosts in your building. This helped me a lot. Just find similar listing on Airbnb, message the host and ask if they are open to meeting for a coffee. One guy gave me better insight than any agency. Real numbers, guest trends, even tips to improve my apartment. Sometimes your best data comes from the people next door. So yeah, I hope that helps if you are thinking about hiring a holiday home company in Dubai. And if you've gone through the process yourself, drop a comment. I would love to hear how it went for you. Now, if you're considering subleasing in Dubai, I actually made a full video on why I would never do that. It's worth checking out before you commit. You can watch it right here. And if you are curious how the company I chose actually performed, I'm breaking that down in the next video. So hit subscribe if you don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.